Hey guys, welcome back to our channel. We're headed out today to go glass some deer. We've been having pretty good luck seeing some nice bucks, so we're going to share some of the things that we've been doing to find these deer with you guys. Whether you're just going out to have fun, look at some deer, or if you're going out to try to find some deer in your area for this upcoming season, these tips are going to help you to find more bucks in the summer. So before we get started, we wanted to apologize for some of the shaky video. We're videoing from a very long distance away with a spotting scope and an iPhone, so that's why some of the video isn't going to be perfect.
We want to encourage you guys to stay tuned to our videos. We've got a really exciting video that we have in the process of editing. It's probably going to be coming out in about a month or so. In this video, we're going to test 4 popular broadheads, and the way we're going to test them is actually shooting through 4 deer that we shot late last season, and we're going to see what broadhead penetrates the most deer bodies, which broadheads, if any, have any deflection. Some of these broadheads are fixed blades, some of them are mechanicals. It's going to be a really cool video, so if you get a chance, help out our channel a little bit, subscribe, and that way you can stay tuned. We've got a lot of other really cool videos also that are going to be coming out. Everybody's getting fired up for deer season. You know, here we are in July. It's a few months away now. Antler development is happening. Starting to see some bucks in velvet, which is pretty cool.
So we wanted to let you guys know, to our first 1,500 subscribers, we're going to be doing a giveaway. Whoever the winner is will have the choice between either a nested backpack, which comes with a set of climbing sticks and a tree stand, or a top-of-the-line Reconyx trail camera. All you have to do to get entered to win is subscribe to our channel and email us a screenshot that shows that you're subscribed. And then whenever we're ready to hold the contest, we'll have a deer head on display and some trail camera pictures of it. And then you guys will get to estimate the score of the deer, and whoever's the closest will get to choose between the nested backpack or the top-of-the-line Reconyx trail camera. So on the time of year, we generally start glassing deer in velvet around the last week of June and throughout July. The best time of the year is going to be the first 2 weeks of July, because starting off at the beginning of July, the deer have their antlers developed enough where you can start to see the size of the deer. You can still see quite a few deer in the beginning of June, but their antlers will be less developed.
It's amazing how much they change from, say, mid-June to that first or second week in July. The main beams are pretty much formed, except out toward the ends. Brow tines are pretty well formed too by the middle of June, but tine length is not there yet. You fast forward a couple weeks, in the first 2 weeks of July, there's still a ways for them to go yet, but now you're starting to see some tine length. They're just overall filling out more, and so it gets more fun as things progress. Once you get past July, it starts tapering off. For whatever reason, especially the mature buck, they just become more difficult to see for some reason.
So sunset this time of year is generally around 8:30. We normally head out just before 7, so we're getting the last hour and a half of daylight to go glass deer. And you can cut off about 20 minutes of that, because the last 20 minutes isn't very good video lighting. Another thing that we wanted to mention is don't get discouraged on the temperature or the weather outside, because we've been having really hot days, 95 degrees and warmer, and we've still been having really good luck. It almost seems like the deer even move a little bit earlier and a little bit more when it's hotter out. I don't know if it's the bugs in the woods that are kind of pushing them out to get into some more open area where there's a little bit more of a breeze maybe, but it seems like they want to move a little bit earlier on them hotter days.
Yeah, they certainly don't move any less.
No.
Not from what we've noticed, and we've been glassing deer. Heck, I can remember bringing you when you were just 1 or 2 years old, even further beyond before you were around. So, better part of 20 years I've been doing this, and every summer, and the heat doesn't seem to bother them whatsoever. If you're anywhere in the Midwest, the primary spot to find bachelor groups of bucks in the summer in velvet is going to be on soybeans. And then take that a step further, the younger planted soybeans tend to attract more deer than some of the earlier planted soybeans that are a little more mature. So then as time progresses and we get into the later part of July, some of those late planted beans at the end of June might have been planted in a wheat field or things like that. They're going to start drawing even more deer into those. So some of the deer might move a little bit from some of those older planted beans into that younger stuff that's kind of just coming up.
So as you can see in some of this video, when these deer are in the bean fields eating, they're really gorging themselves with a lot of food. They're just eating leaf after leaf after leaf, getting in as much nutrients as they can. It's almost like they're in a hurry for something.
So yeah, antler development and probably the heat of the summer also really tax their bodies. Not to mention they're in the process of working on building their fat reserves. We're a few months away yet from the beginning of fall, but these deer are replenishing those fat reserves and preparing for the winter. So they're going to be taking in a lot of food this time of year. And the does as well, because now most of the fawns have hit the ground and they're nursing those fawns, which is actually taxing as well. Probably very similar to antler development, if not more. Those fawns are requiring a lot of food or a lot of milk, and so the does are out there as well. And occasionally you'll see some fawns tagging along, but they're still mostly hidden around the field edges and places where they can hide and keep safe.
A lot of times these deer in the summer will be a little bit more predictable. You'll be able to find them in the same fields day after day. Maybe not every day, but oftentimes they're going to come back to those same fields and feed every evening.
Yeah, they're pretty predictable. You know, you can watch them as long as I think they don't find anything that they prefer more, say like maybe some younger beans or some freshly mowed clover or alfalfa. They're going to continue coming back to those same fields that they favor. If you don't bump them off those fields too many times, or if you keep a safe distance, that's going to help, which is really cool. You can kind of watch them develop, especially if you started earlier, like in the middle of June. You continue going out glassing these areas up until, say, the end of July when the numbers start dropping off. You'll probably end up picking out a couple bucks that you saw earlier on and say, oh yeah, that's that buck that I saw then. He's came a long ways. He didn't look like much back in June, but so that's pretty cool, especially if you're glassing areas that you're actually going to be hunting some of those deer. It can give you kind of a advanced warning of what might be, you know, your target buck for the year, which deer you might want to be passing, and those sorts of things.
Another advantage to going out and glassing these deer is if you're having trouble determining what age a deer might be, the more deer you see when you're going out glassing them, the more you get to understand how to age deer better, which can be very helpful when we get closer to the months of November and October when you're out sitting in a tree stand.
So then even on top of that, over time, let's say you go out and make time to glass deer every summer for the next 4 or 5 years. Now, you've probably, in that period of time, have seen more bucks out in the wild than you're going to see in maybe 10 years of hunting. So it just gives more information for your brain to better understand and start visualizing what a mature buck actually looks like. The more of them you get to see, whether they're in the summer, in velvet, or during the season, the more you can make an educated estimation on that deer's age, and the more accurate I think you're going to become, just by the sheer volume of deer that you're looking at, the numbers.
So even though the young bean fields are going to be some of the best places to glass deer in the summer, we often see good numbers of deer feeding out in clover and alfalfa fields as well.
Something else to keep in mind when you're out there looking at these deer and contemplating or trying to guess their age, you got to remember that their necks are going to be small this time of year. Those mature bucks are still going to have bigger bodies than a younger buck, but their necks are going to all be pretty slim. However, those older bucks are going to have some loose skin around their neck area. So So that can be a telltale sign that you're looking at a mature deer when you see that flappy, looser skin.
Also, the mature bucks will normally have a pretty big chest.
Yeah, they'll have that deeper chest in comparison to a 3-year-old buck for sure.
Another good advantage of going out and glassing these deer is you can get a good overall estimation of the health of the deer herd and what kind of age class is in the area.
Yeah, what percentage of mature bucks to 3-year-olds there is, 2-year-olds, and so on.
So here's a good example of a mature deer. You can see the loose skin on his neck, and also he's got some battle scars from fighting last year, as well as his deep chest.
I'm not familiar with these specific bucks here, but it's pretty obvious from this little video that we took that the buck in the foreground is at least a year or two younger than the one standing behind him. It's pretty obvious the different sizes in the rump of the two deer, you know, excluding the rack size and everything on the head up there, just looking at the overall body size. So this is a good example of a younger buck and a mature animal.
So here's a good example of a really nice 3-year-old that's really going to be something someday. You can see he's got split brow tines on both sides as well as split twos on both sides. He's already starting his 4s, so he's going to be a mainframe 10-pointer. The only thing he's really lacking is width, but there's a lot of deer out there that score high being in a compact frame.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, this is the kind of deer that a guy wants to really see grow and make it to 4 or 5 years old. I mean, he's got the potential to be something really special one day. Will he hit 200 inches? Well, we're not going to know if we shoot him now, but these are the deer that have a good chance of hitting that 200-inch mark and beyond. So we just got to be aware of that, and if we want to see big deer, we got to hold off on these kinds of deer because they're the ones that have a good mama and a good daddy. They got the right genetics. They don't come along every day. So the more of these deer that make it through, the more possible 200-inch deer we're going to have running around in our areas.
Alright, so that wraps it up for this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed watching some of this velvet video. We might do a second velvet footage video depending on how much more video we get this summer. But as always, thank you guys for watching, and if you enjoyed, hit the like button, comment, and subscribe. And always remember, hard work is more reliable than luck.